Namaste and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me for Restorative Yoga. My name is Alaina and I look forward to sharing this extremely beneficial practice with you. If you have never practiced Restorative Yoga, just understanding that it's an extremely slow-paced style of yoga. We'll only probably end up doing about 5 postures throughout this class. The whole point of restorative yoga is to kind of bring down levels of stress in the body. You do get a little bit of flexibility, but it's more kind of a passive type stretch. We'll deeply relax the body, still the mind, and just allow for some healing and balancing to come back into ourselves physically and mentally. When we can kind of still our mind and bring in this sense of calm, it also helps us to develop a little bit more understanding and compassion, not only for ourselves, but for others as well. And I think that's something that we can all use right now, given this kind of unknown times that we're going through. Another great thing about restorative yoga is that it helps boost the immune system because we are still increasing blood flow, but activating our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest system. And with that, we're kind of allowing the body its opportunity to heal. And with all of the stress that many of us have been dealing with, even in just the past week, we could definitely use this little extra dose of immune boosting and anxiety busting practice. So enjoy, and I look forward to partaking and taking this class with you as well. Just a couple of things. Restorative yoga is a very prop-heavy class. Now, if you are practicing at home, you may not have all of these props available to you. I use a bolster and a couple of blocks, blankets, and a yoga strap. A great alternative for a yoga strap is a belt, so that's an easy one to find. Hopefully you can come up with a bunch of blankets in your house. Towels are excellent alternatives. If you don't have blocks, you can use books. Maybe go grab your copy of the Odyssey or something along those lines. But you can also take like hand towels and roll them up, and they create a pretty good solid little support system as well. That's all we use the blocks for, is to kind of help support us in certain poses. And then for a alternative for a bolster, if you don't have something like this, couch cushions work great. But also you can take blankets and fold those blankets up and stack them, just like so. And now essentially you have basically something about the exact same size as a bolster. So again, just being resourceful with what you have available to you at home. The other thing I would like you to grab is some sort of a timer, whether it's like an egg timer or even your cell phone. If you are using your cell phone, please be sure to put it in airplane mode or do not disturb so that you can still enjoy your practice without that extra distraction. And then just putting on some nice relaxing music in the background for you as well, because you want to be able to get as comfy as possible within these poses. If you have an eye pillow or a washcloth to put over your eyes so that you can completely sink in and zen out, again, another amazing alternative. So because we come into a pose and sit in a pose for a very long period of time, the way I'm going to kind of implement this class, this restorative class, is that when I get you into a pose, after I demonstrate how to get into that pose, I'll actually tell you to go ahead and set your timer. Most of these poses we're going to do for about 5 minutes, so if you want to just have a 5-minute timer ready, or 7 minutes if you kind of like to stay a little bit longer, that's perfect. And so I'll instruct you how to get into the pose, how to kind of sink into stillness, and then pause the video and start your timer. When your timer goes off, start your video again, and we'll move into the next pose. But that saves me from also just kind of sitting in front of a camera for 5, 7, 10 minutes at a time, just kind of not doing anything, because The stillness and the quietness is extremely important. So that's my recommendation, and we'll just get started from there. I would like to start by just centering ourselves, kind of noticing where our breath is before we get going, and starting to already begin to lower down our blood pressure, slow down our breathing, and just kind of prepare to come into this very peaceful practice. So I like to sit on a blanket when I do my centering practice because it lifts my hips up in about the same line as my knees, and also allows me to really find length and steadiness through my spine. So we'll start by just taking the hands down on the thighs and either drawing your gaze down the bridge of your nose or even closing your eyes completely and taking your gaze internally towards the third eye, which is that space between the eyebrows. We'll slightly tuck the chin as we grow long through the crown of the head. And first start by just taking a couple of nice full rounds of breath, noticing where that breath is, if you're maybe holding it in any spaces. And if you notice that you're holding that breath anywhere, just invite some softness into that area. Even in restorative yoga, sometimes we can find ourselves holding our bellies in as we're trying to take these deep breaths. And the whole idea is to be able to expand and open up. So we'll take a few more rounds, inhaling deeply. Allow that belly to expand. Relax the muscles of the pelvic floor as you just completely fill the space within the torso. And then as you exhale, you can release through the nose or through the mouth. Feeling the belly contract, the muscles around the ribs contract. And then at the very bottom of that exhale, we'll find just a little contraction at the very base of the pelvic floor. And then inhale again, opening up, releasing and relaxing all the muscles. And then exhale, pressing that breath out as the belly expands, and then finding that little contraction at the very bottom. Once more, inhale. And exhale. That tiny last little contraction at the bottom, and then release. That was actually a practice taught to me recently by Pam Mills, a physical therapist in town, and it's an extremely important practice to help also to relax and heal the pelvic floor muscles, which is another area that we don't often pay attention to, and another reason why restorative yoga is so beneficial to help relax even those tight areas that we don't think about. So now that we've come here and just kind of started to find those nice, slow, relaxing breaths, we will move into our first pose, which is called legs up the wall. You'll want a strap, one of your blankets at least, and perhaps some more blankets if you're chilly. So we're going to take one of my blankets here, and I start with a kind of a bigger fold and fold that blanket in half once so that I've got a long skinny rectangle. And that's going to go about 6 to 8 inches away from the wall. Again, having that strap handy and those other blankets nearby just in case. And setting yourself up so that your side is completely up against the wall here. You're sitting on that blanket and bringing the hands down back behind you as you start to walk the hands back, setting the torso down as the legs come up the wall. And adjusting that blanket underneath so that it is supporting the sacrum and the low back. So just the very bottom of your butt cheeks are going to be hanging off the edge of that blanket, kind of into that space between the blanket and the wall. And you may need to adjust yourself a little closer to the wall or further away if you have a lot of tension in the hamstrings. I like to have my strap handy for this pose because Even in legs up the wall, as I'm trying to relax, I still find myself holding in my legs, trying to keep them drawn together, because they have this tendency to want to sort of slide apart from each other. So I take my strap or a belt and just tie it around my legs. And for the ease of this, I just tie this in a knot, but like a leather belt works really good also here. And so now my legs can't fall apart from each other, and I don't have that desire or urge to contract or constrict anything to try and hold them up. I can completely relax. Arms are going to be down by the sides or on your belly, or you can even bring them out kind of into goalpost or cactus arms if that feels comfortable for you. Taking a moment here, once you settle into this pose, maybe rocking the head just gently from side to side as you release through the neck. Taking a couple of nice full deep breaths. Once again, draw that breath into the belly. And then allowing it to move up into the chest as the heart lifts as well. And exhale through the mouth as you just release everything, letting go of tension, letting go of stress. And preparing to start your timer. You can go ahead and pause this video. And when your timer is done, about 5 minutes, then start the video back up. And I'll meet you here as we move out of this pose. When you're ready to come back and out of this pose, we first start by just wiggling the toes or pumping the ankles and inviting that circulation back into the legs. We'll remove the strap from around the thighs, off to the side here, and slide the feet down the wall as you bend the knees and begin to pull the knees in towards the chest, maybe even just rocking a little bit back onto the low back and then finding that gentle rock from side to side. Still continuing to stay soft in the face. Your eyes can even just stay closed altogether. And slowly begin to roll over to your right side. And we'll stay here in this fetal position for a few breaths. Maybe even creating just a little pillow for your head with your arm. The knees are still in close to the chest. And here we're just allowing, again, for that blood flow to balance out through the body. When you are in an inversion, you always want to take your time coming out, rather than just popping right back up. And then pressing that left hand down into the earth, and slowly rising back up into your seated position. Excellent. So for our next pose, we're going to come into a supported back bend, a simple supported back bend. And again, you can use a bolster for this, or you can use your stacks of blankets, whatever you have available to you. I'm going to just prepare and cover up my legs here because I'm a little chilly. So I like to have my legs extended flat out in front of me for this pose, but really, once you come into it, it's whatever feels most comfortable to you.